and I welcome you all to another lesson of calculus video tutorial series. As you can see on the board, I have written some formula and some expansions. So in the previous two lectures, we have already seen the proofs of this particular formula, and today we will at first see this formula, the proof of this formula, and then we will apply all this formula into mathematics. So before you watch this video, you have to watch the previous two lectures because you need to have some ideas about these two particular formula where I have shown the proofs in the previous two lectures. So you must watch those videos first because I have shown the use of these two expansions, the expansion of e to the power x and the expansion of ln 1 plus x, and we have solved so many problems related to these two particular formula. Now we will move to the proof of this particular formula, and before I continue, let me tell you another thing. I have two other channels which are in Bangla language. So if you are someone who speaks Bangla, or if you are someone from Bangladesh or Bangla speaking nations, then these channels might be helpful for you. So one of the channels is Learn with Pavel. Learn with Pavel. So this channel is also related to mathematics, so I upload videos on mathematics. And I have another channel named Explore with Pavel. Explore with Pavel. So you can watch the videos of these channels as well. And please do subscribe to these channels. Okay. So let me start with the proof. So at first, let us write what is written here. Limit x tends to 0, a to the power x minus 1 divided by x. So if you have already seen the previous two lectures, then you know that the first thing we do here is put the expansion value of this particular term. So we will write limit x tends to 0. Instead of a to the power x, you already know the expansion here. So we will put this value 1 plus x ln a plus x ln a whole square divided by 2 factorial. I have not written the other terms. The next term will be x ln a whole cube divided by 3 factorial, and then x ln a to the power 4 divided by 4 factorial, and in this way it will go on. So it's not necessary that you have to write down all the terms, so that's okay, no problem. So what we've done here is that we have put the value of a to the power x, the expansion value, and then we have a negative 1 at the end, so negative 1, and then divided by x. And then in the next line, what happens is that this positive 1 and this negative 1 cancels out. So you will have x ln a plus x ln a whole square divided by 2 factorial, in this way all the way to infinity, divided by x. So what can we observe here is that in all these terms, here you have x ln a, here you have x ln a whole square by 2 factorial, and then in the next term you will have x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial. So you can take two things common. You can see that in the upcoming terms, you always have a higher degree of x. That means x is always present in the upcoming terms. Also, ln a is present in the upcoming terms. So either you can take x as common or you take x ln a as common. So we take x ln a as common, or we can take only x common, no problem. So what will remain here, we divide x ln a with x ln a, so you have 1, it will become x ln a divided by 2 factorial all the way to infinity divided by x. So what do you have here? You can cancel out this x with this x, okay? So you divide x with x, you get 1 here. So you have ln a here. Now you will multiply ln a with all these terms, but here is the thing. The value of the limit is that the x is approaching towards 0. Okay, so if you now put the value of x here, then this term becomes 0. So x ln a is also 0. 0 times something is 0. So these will become 0. The next term, x ln a whole square by 3 factorial, that will also become 0. And all the upcoming terms will become 0 other than this one. So ln a will be multiplied with 1. So the answer will be ln A. Here is the proof. So I hope that you understood this proof. So you may write it down. Now I will move on to another proof using the same expansion. Okay, so you have a to the power x. Now if you have something like a to the power negative x, what will happen? I have shown in the previous 2 lectures for e to the power x and ln 1 plus x, if we have a different power of x, say e to the power twice x, e to the power thrice x, or e to the power negative x, whatever that is, you just replace the x in the right hand side with the value you have here. Suppose you have e to the power twice x, then what will happen? In the right hand side, instead of all the x, you just replace with twice x. I mean, whatever the value is on the left hand side, right? So similarly, the same thing will happen here. Instead of x, you will put negative x. Okay. So let me show you an example using the concept of e to the power negative x. I hope you understood this problem, I mean the proof. If you have any doubts, you can tell me in the comment section. So for now, we move on to the next question. The board has become a bit dirty. I have to clean it after the class is finished. Okay. Limit x tends to 0, a to the power x minus a to the power negative x divided by x. Okay. So now what do we need? We know the value of a to the power x. I mean, we know the expansion already. So you just need to know the expansion of a to the power negative x. Okay. So at first, let us fix it. We have a to the power negative x. So what do we do here? At first, you have a 1. Okay. Because there is no variable here, you need not replace anything here. The next term is x ln a. So instead of x, we have to put negative x, because you see that this a to the power x, this x is present here, and in all the upcoming terms. So the only changes we are getting in the left hand side is negative x. So instead of positive x, we will have to put negative x. So this will become minus x ln a. I hope you understand. Now, the next term, x ln a whole square. So instead of x ln a, we will put minus x ln a whole square. So this will again become plus. So what I am trying to tell you is that minus x ln a whole square divided by 2 factorial. So it will become this negative sign. When you square, it will become positive. So it will become x ln a whole square by 2 factorial. So it's again becoming positive. But the next term, say minus x ln a whole cube divided by 3 factorial. So what will happen here? This negative x, when you multiply it 3 times, so negative x, negative x, negative x, you will have a negative sign here. So it will be minus x ln a whole cube divided by 3 factorial and all the way to infinity. So you can observe one thing in order to keep in mind or memorize. You can just keep in mind that these terms are alternately positive and negative. So at first you have a positive term and then negative term and then positive and then negative and again positive. So in this way it will continue. So if you can remember only the expansion of e to the power x, you can very easily remember e to the power negative x as well. So let us just put the value of these 2 expansions in this formula, I mean in this problem. So e to the power x, we already know what is the value of e to the power x, 1 plus x ln a plus x ln a whole square by 2 factorial all the way to infinity. And then you have a minus and then 1 minus x ln a plus x ln a whole square by 2 factorial, and then you have a negative all the way to infinity. Okay. So I hope you understand. Now, and divided by x. Limit x tends to 0. Okay. So you have a positive 1 here. You have another positive 1 here, but since here you have a negative sign, it will become negative. Okay, let me write it down for you. So 1 plus x ln a plus x ln a whole square by 2 factorial all the way to infinity. We just multiply all the terms with negative 1. So it will become negative 1 plus x ln a negative x ln a whole square by 2 factorial positive x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial negative all the way to infinity. So I hope you understand. We just multiplied all the terms with negative 1. So the signs has become opposite. And then you divide it with x. Limit x tends to 0. Okay. So you have a positive 1. Here you have a negative 1. So these two terms will cancel out. Okay. Then you have x ln a, another x ln a. So you will get twice x ln a. Now x ln a whole square by 2 factorial, you have x ln a whole square by 2 factorial but of opposite sign. So these two terms will cancel out. And then here you have x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial, you have another x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial. Both are positive. So it will be plus 2 times x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial, right? So 2 times x ln a, 2 times x ln a whole cube by 3 factorial. And then the next term will be 2 times x ln a whole to the power 5 divided by 5 factorial all the way to infinity. I hope you understand, right? You just cancel out the terms which are of opposite signs. And then you have x. Now what you can do here is that you can take x as common, or you can take x ln a as common, whatever you want, no problem with that. So if you want to take x ln a as common, x ln a, then you have 2 plus 2 into x ln a whole square by 3 factorial, 2 into x ln a whole to the power 4 by 5 factorial all the way to infinity. So we have taken x ln a as common. So we are dividing all the terms here with x ln a. So x ln a divided by x ln a, you have only 2. Then this x ln a whole cube divided by x ln a, you have x ln a whole square. In this way, the upcoming terms will continue. Now you divide x and this x. So what do you have now? You put the value of the limit, x tends to 0. So if you put this value, this term will become 0, this term will become 0, and all the remaining terms will become 0. Only this term will be multiplied with ln a. So you have twice ln a, right? So we can write this directly, I mean from now onwards. But mostly we will be using these three formula, right? So you have to memorize this formula, and even if you forget, you have the expansions, just use these expansions wherever needed. Okay? So even though you can't remember the formula, you have to remember the expansions. This will be useful in upcoming maths. I mean, you will see the use in upcoming classes as well. So this was the problem related to a to the power x. I hope you understood. Even if you have any problems, you can tell me in the comment section so that I can make videos, I mean, on those topics if you have any doubts. So I will try to answer that in the comment section. Okay. Now, what I have told at the very beginning of the class, I will now discuss some of the maths which has the application of all these formulas. Okay. So at first, let us solve some problem where we have the application of these two formula, right? Suppose you have limit x tends to 0 e to the power thrice x minus 1 divided by ln 1 plus 5x. Okay. So what do we do now? So we will at first put the value of the expansion of e to the power thrice x and ln 1 plus 5x. You have e to the power x. So what would be the value of e to the power thrice x? You just replace the variable, that is x, of the right hand side with thrice x. So let me write it down here. If you have e to the power thrice x, so what will happen? The first term is 1, so 1 will remain as it is. Then the next term will be thrice x. then the next term will be thrice x whole square by 2 factorial, and then thrice x whole cube by 3 factorial. In this way it will go on. And for this formula, ln 1 plus x, you have ln 1 plus 5x. So all this x will be replaced with 5x. Very simple. I hope you understand. Okay. So let me write it down. Limit x tends to 0. What will happen? So e to the power thrice x, it will become 1 plus thrice x square by 2 factorial, thrice x cube by 3 factorial all the way to infinity. And then at the end we have a negative 1. Okay. Again, for ln 1 plus 5x, what will happen? You have x minus x square by 2 factorial, sorry, not factorial, x square by 2 plus x cube by 3. One thing you should keep in mind is that in this particular expansion, the alternate terms are of opposite signs, right? Two consecutive terms are of opposite signs. So ln 1 plus x, instead of ln 1 plus x, we have ln 1 plus 5x. So we replace with the expansion value. So it will be 5x minus 5x whole square by 2 plus 5x whole cube by 3 minus all the way to infinity. So what can we do now? Let me do something shortcut. So this 1 and this negative 1 will cancel out. And out of the remaining terms, all these terms contains thrice x, right? So thrice x whole square by 2 factorial, thrice x whole cube by 3 factorial, and then thrice x whole to the power 4 by 4 factorial. So we can see that all these terms contain thrice x. So we can take thrice x as common, right? So here we'll have 1, here you'll have thrice x by 2 factorial, and then you'll have thrice x whole square by 3 factorial, and all the way to infinity. I hope you understand, right? So we have skipped one line. So this one and this one cancels out, and out of the remaining terms you can take thrice x as common. So you divide thrice x with thrice x, you have 1. You divide thrice x whole square by thrice x, you have only thrice x. In this way things will continue, right? And in the denominator you can see that all these terms contain 5x. So what can we do here? We can take 5x as common. Okay, before I finish this math, let me tell you one thing. We can very easily, very simply solve this problem in just few seconds. I will show you this trick. But before that, let us finish with the expansion method. So you have 1 minus 5x by 2 plus 5x whole square by 3 minus all the way to infinity. And then the rest of the part is very easy. You cancel out x and x. Okay. And then you put the value of the limit. So x tends to 0. If you put 0 in all the terms containing x, so these terms will become 0 other than 1 in the numerator. So 3 times 1 is 3 in the numerator, and 5 times 1 is 5 in the denominator. Very easy, right? So I hope you understand the solution. Okay. Now I will show you a shortcut trick to solve the same problem, right? Okay. So I hope you understood everything that I have discussed. Even if you don't understand anything of the procedures that I have described so far, you can let me know through commenting on the video. Okay. Now, in order to apply the shortcut method, you have to know one thing, that limit you have e to the power x minus 1 divided by x is equal to 1. Similarly, e to the power twice x minus 1 divided by twice x, it will also become 1. E to the power thrice x minus 1 divided by thrice x, it will become 1. If you want to verify, you can check. So what happens here is that in e to the power twice x, you have and 1 at the very beginning, and this 1 and negative 1 cancels out. So all the remaining terms will contain twice x. You will take twice x as common in the numerator, and in the denominator you have twice x. So xs and xx cancels out. Sorry, twice x cancels out. So you have 1 at the end. Okay. So similarly, for ln 1 plus x, ln 1 plus x divided by x is equal to 1. So 1 plus 5x divided by 5x, limit extends to 0. Let me apply the limit. You must. Okay. So this will also become 1, right? So whatever the value you have after 1 plus, so it could be of plus, it could be of minus. So you have a plus x plus 5x, you should have a plus 5x in the denominator as well, so that these terms will cancel out and you will have only 1. Okay. So we will apply this shortcut here. So in the next line, what will we do is that we will write e to the power thrice x minus 1 divided by thrice x. Okay. So we are dividing with thrice x to match the formula. Okay. And then you multiply with thrice x to adjust it. Again, you have ln 1 plus 5x. So in order to make the value as 1, we need to divide it with 5x. So you multiply with 5x. Now, this particular term, when you apply limit, it will become 1, and this particular expression, so sorry, I called it as term, this is an expression. Okay, so this expression and this expression, both of these will become 1 when you apply the limit. So this is 1, this is 1, this x and this x cancels out, so you have 3 divided by 5. Very easy, right? So just because I explained everything to you, it took a bit of time, but once you understand this trick, just by looking at the question, you can answer it. Like I can very easily say the answer is 3 by 5, just looking at the question. Let me show you another thing. Suppose you have limit x tends to 0, e to the power ax minus 1 ln 1 plus bx. So you can very easily say that the answer will be a by b. Just 1 to 2 seconds it will take for you to answer, right? Because you need to divide it with ax and multiply with ax, and then you need to divide with bx and then again multiply with bx, so xx cancels out, you will get the result as a by b. Okay, so you can try to solve it using this shortcut method and using the expansion method where you put the value of e to the power ax. So what will happen, instead of x, all these terms will become ax. I mean all the x will be replaced with ax. Again ln 1 plus bx, so all these x will be replaced with bx. So I hope you understood everything that I have discussed so far. Even if you have any doubts, you can inform me through the comment section. I'm repeating one thing again and again just to comment, okay, so that you the videos I've been making for you is being useful for you, right? So that I can do something for you, those who are watching my videos. Okay. Another thing is that I could not make videos for the last many days. It's been like more than 1 month, I guess, almost 2 months. I'm really sorry for that because I have been busy with some activities. In Bangladesh, there are 12 cadet colleges. I go to the cadet colleges and train the cadets for an upcoming competition there. The competition is named Inter-Cadet College Math Olympiad, and I'm the code trainer for that particular project. And we have a team along with me. So we go to the cadet colleges and we train the cadets, and after a few days there is a competition. That's why I have been busy in going different parts of the country and train them. That's why I didn't get enough time. Today also I will be visiting to a very long distant, what could I say, long distant place from my living city. So that city is at the very north end of my country, and I live in almost the east end. So a very long distant journey I will have today, tonight I guess. Okay, so that was it for today's class. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you so much those who are commenting on my channel, those who are appreciating me, inspiring me through your positivity, through positive comments. Thank you so much. This inspired me a lot. So inshallah I will be making more and more videos for you. And if you want to inspire me, if you are a new viewer of my channel, then you can subscribe this channel, inform your friends and family members about this channel, so that I get more and more inspiration to make more videos for you. So that's it for today's lesson. Inshallah I will be uploading, I will be taking live class soon, very soon, maybe today, if I get time, tomorrow inshallah. Okay, So till the next video, stay fine. Allah Hafiz.